On March 10, 1928, Christine Collins' son, Walter, disappeared. 5 months after Walter's disappearance, a boy who closely resembled Walter was found in Illinois. Christine and the boy exchanged letters and photographs, and eventually Christine was convinced that her son was found and paid $70 for his ticket to come to Los Angeles, where she lived. At the reunion, Christine shockingly claimed that the boy was not Walter. She uttered the words, "I do not think that is my son." Hi everyone, today we'll be talking about the real story that inspired The Changeling, a movie directed by Clint Eastwood starring Angelina Jolie as Christine. If you're interested in dark and mysterious stories, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on all notification buttons to stay updated on all of our latest videos. Let's continue. Well, it should be mentioned that during that time, Walter's disappearance received nationwide attention, and the Los Angeles Police Department followed up on hundreds of leads without success. The police faced negative publicity and increasing public pressure to solve the case, as at the time, they had been under fire for corruption and incompetency. The previous December, they had failed to stop the grisly murder of a 12-year-old girl. So for 5 months, police searched for the 9-year-old Walter Collins, who mysteriously disappeared on March 10, 1928, after Christine gave him some money to go to the cinema. When the case hit the mainstream, reports of possible sightings flooded in from across the state. San Francisco, Oakland, and the town of Glendale, where a petrol station attendant claimed to have seen him in the backseat of a car, wrapped in newspaper from the neck down. However, the police couldn't find anything concrete, as all the leads ended up worthless. So, when the police had thought that Walter was found, they organized a kind of public reunion, hoping to clear up some of the bad publicity plaguing the police force. So when Christine said that the boy who came up from Illinois was not Walter, under pressure to solve the case and create good PR, the officer in charge, Captain J.J. Jones, instead of believing the actual victim, convinced Christine to try the boy out by taking him home. The boy had a vague story about being the victim of an abduction, which the police then used to explain differences in his appearance. The Los Angeles Times reported on August 19, 1928, not only was the youth's body sadly emaciated and his face drawn, but his mind had been affected, according to officers who examined him, apparently the result, they said, of harrowing experiences he had been subjected to by his kidnapper. Despite all of that, Christine returned 3 weeks later, again saying that this unknown boy was not her son. Although she had dental records and backing from friends to prove her case, Collins said Jones accused her of being a bad mother and bringing ridicule to the police. Jones allegedly replied, "What are you trying to do? Make fools out of all of us? Or are you trying to shirk your duty as a mother and have the state provide for your son? You are the most cruel-hearted woman I've ever met." For her claims, police committed Christine Collins to the Los Angeles County General Hospital psychiatric ward for 5 days. Jones went on to question the boy, who finally admitted to being 12-year-old Arthur Hutchins Jr., a runaway and juvenile criminal from Iowa. Arthur's ploy started when a diner in an Illinois cafe mistook him for the missing boy from California. Arthur was eager to start a new life in Los Angeles and escape a difficult relationship with his stepmother, who reportedly beat and tortured him. Arthur saw this as a golden opportunity. He can have a new family and see Hollywood. So Arthur went to the police station and claimed to be the missing Walter Collins. According to the Chicago Tribune, when later asked about duping Christine, Arthur had said, "She was nice to me. It's fun to be somebody you aren't." Upon Arthur's confession, the police released Christine and she filed a lawsuit against the Los Angeles Police Department. Christine won a lawsuit against Jones and was awarded $10,800, which Jones never paid. However, regardless of the media circus surrounding the case, Walter was still missing and Christine never gave up looking for him. In 1929, Gordon Stewart Northcutt was found guilty of abducting, sexually assaulting and killing 3 boys in what became known as the Wineville Chicken Coop murders. Northcutt's mother, Sarah Louise Northcutt, confessed in late 1928 to her participation in the murder of Walter Collins as being amongst her son's victims. Following her conviction, she was sentenced without trial to life imprisonment for her role in Walter's death. The state chose not to prosecute Gordon Northcutt for Walter's murder and instead brought him to trial for the murders of 3 other young boys, for which there was also forensic evidence. On February 13, 1929, he was found guilty for all murders and sentenced to death. Despite these convictions, Gordon Northcutt always denied killing Walter Collins. He had said, "I don't know anything about that, I'm innocent." And at that same time, Sarah Northcutt also attempted to rescind her confession and gave other scattered and inconsistent statements. Christine, ever the optimist, chose to believe that her son was still alive. She corresponded with Gordon Northcutt and received permission to interview him shortly before his execution. Northcutt pledged to explain the true account of Walter's fate, but he recanted at the last minute and professed his innocence of any involvement. He was hanged on October 2nd, 1930 at St. Quentin State Prison. On the day of his execution, Northcutt became so nervous that he had to be blindfolded for the walk to the gallows. During the walk, he collapsed and had to be supported by 2 guards. As he neared the gallows, he began begging for his life. When the noose was adjusted around Northcutt's neck, his last words were, "Don't. The rope used for the execution was too slack to cause breakage of the neck, and it therefore took 13 minutes for Northcutt to die from strangulation. Throughout the trial to Northcutt's execution, he never admitted to killing Walter. So Christine continued her search. Her resolve was only strengthened when one of the other boys Northcutt was accused of killing turned up alive 5 years later, claiming to have escaped his chicken coop. But that also didn't lead to Christine finding a son. Also, Christine attempted several times to collect the money owed to her by Jones, including a 1941 court case, in which she attempted to collect a $15,562 judgment in the Superior Court. All these was done to no avail. Through it all, unfortunately, Walter Collins has never been found. Christine Collins would die in 1964 at the age of 75 after spending 36 years searching for her son. Anyway guys, that's it for today. Drop a comment down below on what you think of this video. If you have other stories you wish for me to cover, leave a comment and a link for me to look deeper into it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our latest videos. I'll see you in our next campfire stories. Thank you for watching.